Is this another example of Sean Payton make the Broncos the Saints 2.0? Did the Nuggets spoil Doc Rivers' debut? Plus, what happened after the game to Nuggets rookie Jalen Pickett? This is your Denver Sports Daily for January 30th. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel V. Hill.
Oh boy, everybody. I feel like I can say I told you so. But hey, it might actually not be too bad of a thing. Sean Payton adding Pete Carmichael to the Broncos offensive staff is significant. Carmichael joined the Saints when Payton did in 2006, as the quarterbacks coach. Then he became the passing game coach in 2007 and 2008. Man, this is all a really long time ago. I'm already just in the 20s. Then he was promoted to offensive coordinator in 2009 and held that job until last year with the Saints. Now, obviously, when Pete Carmichael got fired from the Saints, essentially, I was like, the chances of him coming to the Denver Broncos, pretty high. Now, here's my thing with this is obviously the Saints had some success. That's no surprise right there. They obviously won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees. How can we all forget him holding up his son? And America's hearts melted. But the only reason I'm semi-okay with this is because we're finally going to learn if the Saints were really successful because of Drew Brees or because of Sean Payton. Sean Payton continues to bring over people from the Saints organization. Then we're going to learn if they don't have success here, then it really was Drew Brees. And if they do have success, then hey, it might have been a mixture of both. It's one of those fascinating conversations that can go on time and time again. But Pete Carmichael is not the only one coming over from the Saints. They're also giving general manager George Payton some help and tapping into the Saints to do it again. Like I said, Saints 2.0. Now, this is scouting director Cody Rager, who is joining the Broncos specifically as VP of player personnel. I find this to be a little fascinating. This is going to be like a new role, it seems like. And Rager's 9th year in New Orleans, and he had 3 years as an assistant college scouting director, and then he was a national scout, and then he was an area scout for the organization. So obviously tons of scouting information right there coming out of him. I wonder if he's going to be down there with Cecil Lammey at the Senior Bowl and Andrew Mason. I don't know. But there is now 9 former Saints people on the Denver Broncos team, 8 players and 2 personnel. So I guess actually there is now 10. You have 8 players, 2 personnel, with Pete Carmichael being added only this morning. This news dropping just a little bit before we went live. It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of fascinated by it. I'm a little bit okay with it right now. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about it. Again, Saints 2.0. We might finally learn a little bit about Sean Payton and Drew Brees right there. Sticking in the NFL, the Patriots aren't planning to pick up the Mac Jones 5th-year option. Will be open to trading Jones in the offseason. He went 2-9 as a starter last season and was benched multiple times. Now, why does this matter for Broncos country? The Patriots have the number 3 pick overall, which means they will be hunting for a QB. So, will the QBs go off of the board 1, 2, 3? I don't know, but there's lots of talk. Drake May, being very, very heavy favorites right now. But that would mean the Broncos would essentially have to move up, if not to 2, but possibly 3, depending on what the Commanders are going to do. Definitely going to be interesting. But yes, that's not good news for Broncos country because you kind of wanted the Patriots to stick it out one more year with Mac Jones, see what he can do. But it doesn't look like they will be doing so. Brock Purdy will make history the moment he steps onto the field at the Super Bowl. At 24 years and 46 days old, Purdy will be the 3rd youngest quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl. Can I give you guys a guess of who are the 2 other ones? I'm going to give you guys a few moments to comment that down below. But his opponent, obviously Patrick Mahomes, ranks number 6 on that list. He was 24 years and 138 days old when he led the Chiefs to a win in the Super Bowl, obviously a few years ago. So, if you didn't guess, Dan Marino, he was 23 years and 127 days old. And Ben Roethlisberger was 23 years and 340 days old. I find it to be so fascinating that we can just dissect even down to the days who's going to be the youngest QB to be able to step out onto the field. And in case you are like me and you are totally invested in seeing if Joel Embiid can possibly be involved in any postseason awards or any awards this season, Please know that the big man has to play in 32 of their final 37 games to qualify due to the new NBA rule. Considering he's missed 12 games so far, I cannot believe it. He literally only has 5 games that he is allowed to miss. So just in case you're counting because you're a little bitter like I am, he can only miss 5 more games this season. And my guess is he won't be able to qualify for any of this. Now, this next minute is presented by Smash Burgers. We've got your Mile High Minute. Michael Malone brings in win number 400. While the Denver Nuggets spoiled the debut for Milwaukee's Doc Rivers, beating the Bucks 113-107. Giannis was in the building and he actually played. Wow, 2 superstars that actually played against each other. You love to see it. The Joker finished with a triple-double and Giannis had a double-double. The Bucks made 16 three-pointers, and the Nuggets had only 4. And Denver outscored Milwaukee 58-26 in the paint, though. And we know Michael Malone has really kind of put an emphasis on that, getting points in the paint. And you guys, they just proved that if they're able to do that and they're able to continue to play the way that they are doing, you can beat some of the best. And I really do like Giannis a ton. So my question now to all of you guys is, and maybe this was just me, we were talking about it even before the show. Did you ever play any jokes on your friends? Did you ever TP their house? Or it was really popular for the guys in my high school to blow up my mailboxes. Mom and dad, I am sorry because it happened multiple times. But what about saran wrapping a car? Julian Strouthard posted this on his Instagram live last night that the Nuggets saran wrapped Jalen Pickett's car. Take a listen.
Nah. What you gotta say, brother?
DeAndre Jordan?
That is honestly so tough. I can't even imagine trying to do that. And I just need the logistics behind this. Obviously, all of the players were inside going against the Bucks. So how did this happen? Did they run out during pregame warmups after Pickett got there and quickly saran wrapped it? He obviously points out DeAndre Jordan in the video. Did they hire somebody to go out there? I mean, you can't just get into that garage. I was very curious. And is this something that they just do to all of the rookies too? I'm like, I need the logistics behind how this all went down, but I love that they shared it. And I'm curious, what other things have they done to the rookies if this is a rookie specific thing? Now, the Denver Nuggets are 3-1 this season against the Los Angeles Clippers and Boston Celtics. And they beat the Clippers in LA without Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon. And they knocked off the Celtics in Boston, ending their perfect 20-0 record at home. And Denver is 7-2 in their last 9 games, despite spending 11 days on the road. But apparently none of that matters because the NBA power rankings have Denver slotted in at number 3 behind the Clippers and Celtics. It was kind of okay, whatever. And please note that this was before the Bucks game on Monday night, but essentially the article says the last 2 games have been rather disappointing as they got clobbered in New York on Thursday, the final matchup of a 5-game trip that didn't include any back-to-backs, and faced the Sixers B team 2 nights later. Okay, but it doesn't really matter because, one, it's not like they were forced to do the B team. It was Joel Embiid just didn't play. So I'm you can't really throw that one in there. And let's be honest, even though they didn't have any back-to-back games on that 11-day road trip, 11 days to, away from home is no joke. So I'm a little on the power rankings right there, especially because they've obviously done well against the Clippers and the Celtics. But let it be, none of that really matters. All you want is to win a championship. Now, Friday night, this is something I had actually missed over the weekend. The Colorado Avalanche made some moves. They signed former All-Star forward Zach Periz. Periz was 17th in the 2003 NHL draft, and would be the 6th player from his class to still be playing in the NHL 21 years later. That's seriously so impressive. The now 39-year-old winger has played in 1,224 games, appeared in an All-Star game, and scored 429 goals and tallied 450 assists. He looks to be a little bit of an insurance-y policy, just in case Nichushkin doesn't return. And the Avalanche signed him to an $825,000 deal, but the Wild are still paying him $7 million. Not too bad to be insurance. Richie Carney and I talked about this yesterday on Coffee Break. Take a listen. The Avs made moves this weekend. Tell me, who do we got? Should I be excited about this name? What's going on?
They did. They signed Zach Periz through a deal through the rest of this season.
Okay. I know the Wild are paying the Avs like a lot of money for him.
Yeah, so he's signed on through the rest of the season, and I think there's a couple of different ways to look at it. One, just from like a fan perspective, because Periz has been in the league for almost 20 years. He's been around, okay? And Avalanche fans probably don't have the best taste in their mouth with this guy, because when he was with Minnesota in his younger years a little bit, he was kind of an Av killer.
Yeah.
He had some really big game moments against the Avs.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like one of those weird things, like when Bill Romanowski for the Broncos went to the Raiders.
And last but not least, average prices for Super Bowl 58 are ranging from $9,815, that hurts my pocket just thinking about it, to $12,082 on the secondary market. It is 70% more expensive than Super Bowl 57's average ticket price of $5,795. And at the time, I thought that was expensive. Now, I'm blaming Las Vegas because everything is more expensive in Vegas. Cheap to get to Vegas, expensive when you're there. But also, I'm sorry, I always wanted to go to a Super Bowl. I don't think that it is worth going to the Super Bowl to watch your team win. When, one, it's not like you get the home field advantage. That's always my thing. Like going to an AFC championship game or NFC championship game, it's that home field advantage, hopefully, that you're going to get. It's crazy. It's like so many diehard fans at the Super Bowl. It's so many celebrities. It just doesn't feel like a home game of any sorts. And I know that sounds ridiculous. And you're like, well, yeah, Rachel, it's a freaking Super Bowl. It's super cool. You get a concert in the middle of the game. You get to watch some team walk away with the Lombardi trophy. And I get that. But to spend $12,000 to go possibly sit in the nosebleeds of a, stadium, I just doesn't seem right to me. I would rather watch it on my couch with a bunch of friends, unless I guess you're a huge fan of whoever's doing the concert. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's really worth it. It's like the worst bang for your buck that you can get. Plus, that doesn't even include hotels, travels that you got to get there, all the food you're going to have to pay for. I don't even want to know how much the lemonades are going to cost if you're going out to the game. So all things you have to consider, but just to get in the door to pay $9,000 to $12,000 just feels a little bit outrageous. Plus, there's a huge risk that your team could also lose, and it could be deemed possibly one of the worst days of your life as well. So on that note, you guys, I always love talking to you in the comments. It's always such a blast. So thank you guys for tuning in every single day and hanging out with me for just 10 minutes in the early morning. Want to just read some of it. Let's see. The Saints did have some success, so working with people isn't a terrible idea. 100%. I'm with you on that one. But it has become very clear that I think anybody that gets let go from the Saints organization is going to come over to the Denver Broncos. I think Sean Payton has a lot of pull, obviously, and he's going to be like, nope, come on over. I literally called it day one when Pete Carmichael was fired over there. I was like, he's probably going to be coming back over. So I love this one. I wonder how much popcorn is going to cost at the Super Bowl. I can't even imagine how much popcorn would cost at the Super Bowl, you guys. At least $20 for just a little container of it. 100%. If you end up going to the Super Bowl, though, and you want to bring me back some popcorn, just like Richie Carney did when he went to Detroit, I'll love you forever. It would mean a ton to me. Let's see. What's up, Rachel? RJ, appreciate you hanging out with us on this lovely day. Let's see. Why is being third to do something making history? Shouldn't he be the youngest? That's fair, but I just think they're trying to point out that he is going to be so young to be able to step out there. And I feel like the disrespect towards Brock Purdy, I have given it myself, has not been, I don't know. I feel like he's got to really shine in the Super Bowl. And if he does, everybody's, opinions on Brock Purdy is going to change a ton. But still, being the third youngest to play in a Super Bowl is insane, especially if you look at, going back in his history of playing and where he was last year and everything of that nature. Like, he's done a lot in his young career. So I love that, RJ. I do kind of think it's funny. But you guys, on this Tuesday that feels like a Wednesday to me, I hope you guys have a wonderful freaking day. Again, I appreciate you spending some time with me just to go over everything in the headlines. And if you ever see anything and you're like, hey, Rachel, you should definitely mention that. Send it over to me on Twitter. I love getting DMs from you guys. I love chatting with you. It always makes my day. Plus, you guys see some of the things that I don't. I tell our producer, Joey, all the time. I'm like, send me anything, because sometimes I miss stuff. So let me know. I would love to give you credit, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning. Love you all. Bye.